Hello, good evening, and welcome to all IELTS aspirants out there. It's a brand new week and a brand new live session from Medcity. Well, today's topic, as you're all aware of, is on IELTS listening. So I'm going to give you certain tips on how you can solve the listening module. And I'm also going to teach you a strategy that you can use when it comes to solving the IELTS listening test. It is a very handy strategy, something that will really help you, and if you practice it sufficiently, I'm sure you will be able to solve a majority of the questions that happen in IELTS listening. So don't forget to stay online till the end of the session today. It's going to be a 1 hour long session, a wonderful 1 hour interacting with all the IELTS aspirants across the world. I hope you've all joined in our live session, and I am going to see who's joined me here in the session today. Now, as I always tell you, it'll be great if you can tell me where you're watching the live session from, and that will of course help me to identify the kind of audience, the kind of viewers we have. And yeah, good evening. So there are a lot of people coming in. Good evening, good evening, good evening to all. Like I said, today's session is on IELTS listening, and we're going live at the same time on Facebook, on YouTube and Instagram. So let me also pop into our YouTube to check how many are watching us live on YouTube. Padma says good evening. Yadu, hello. Austin says hi ma'am. Shrija Sureshan, hi. Padma says I like your voice ma'am. Thank you so much. That is indeed a good flattery that I can start off with today. Thank you so much. So Divya Sara is here. Jasmeer Jafar is watching from Thiruvananthapuram. So welcome to our, so we have Dhanushani Fernando watching from Hong Kong. I would first of all like to, tell a big apology to anyone if I mispronounce your name, because certain names might not, be pronounced the way I do it. So I'm really sorry, Dhanushani, if I've pronounced it wrong. Preeti Francis has joined us, and yeah, just Najos and a lot others. So what is IELTS listening? Well, IELTS listening is the first module on the test day, and this is one test wherein you don't have to worry about time management at all, because the entire time is managed by the audio clip you listen to. So let's have a quick look at IELTS listening. I'm going to show you an overview slide so that you get an idea of what IELTS listening is. And like I've already told you, I will also be sharing a strategy to help you solve the listening question types. So take a look at the screen. Here we have details regarding IELTS listening. So many of us are already aware that it is a 40-minute long exam. Well, the 40-minute is split into two. We have 30 minutes wherein the audio clip plays, and you have to answer a set of 40 questions, 40. And you also get an additional 10 minutes time for you to transfer all the answers from the question booklet onto the answer sheet. And that is how your entire time of the listening is split. Okay? Which also means that you don't have to enter the answers onto the answer sheet as you're listening to the audio, which also means you're completely free to scribble down your answers. Even if the spelling is wrong, when you initially write it on the question booklet, it is okay. Alright? So you have to answer a total of 40 questions. Remember, the biggest highlight about IELTS listening is you don't have a negative marking at all. On Facebook, I have Jessie Rachel saying a very good evening to a dearest ma'am. Hi Jessie, good evening. Surya M. Nambiar says hi. Honey Hanish says hi. Alright. Anya David is here. Johnny is here. Jibin, Linto, Smita Chako. Well, it's wonderful to see a lot of you joining in today. Like I said, in your IELTS listening, you don't have any negative marking, which means even if you're not sure of the answer, all you need to do is guess. Make a wild guess, and if you're really lucky, you might get that as your right answer. Well, there is one more loophole that you need to be aware of. That is, when you're guessing an answer, make sure to follow the instructions given to you. You might be wondering what instructions are. Well, for each of the question, you get to know how many words you can enter as the answer. Especially for questions where you need to write down a word, okay, like fill in the blanks. You have summary completion, sentence completion, so many other question types, similar types where you need to write down an answer, and the instructions will clearly tell you whether your answer should be one word, whether it should be 2 words or 3 words. You may also require to add a number to your answer. Well, so let me also add on that this session, this 1 hour session that will go up to 8 o'clock Indian Standard Time is meant for you to clarify any queries you have regarding IELTS listening. So probably you're somebody training for the module completely on your own, or you're taking the help of a mentor, or you're maybe enrolled in a particular institute. No matter which part of the world you're watching from or which stage of IELTS preparation you're in, if you have any questions regarding IELTS listening, then this is your platform. If you ask me a question, I will ensure that to the best of my ability, I'll answer all the questions. And in case you put up a question that I'm not really aware of, do not worry at all, because I'll update that in the comment sessions after the live session. Okay, so a lot of highs and good evenings, and that's overwhelming, but I would also love to see certain questions come up. Alright, now remember, in your IELTS listening, spellings are important. Okay, so anyone out there, if you're not very confident about your spellings, if you feel that that is one area that you need to work on, well, I would say you better start working on your spellings, because if your answer is correct but your spelling is wrong, you will be marked wrong. So spellings play a very big important role when it comes to IELTS listening. So make sure you get your spell check done, you get all the practice required to learn the spellings of the most common words that appear in your IELTS. And let me also tell you, when I cover the overview of IELTS listening, that if any of you are targeting a band of 7, you need to get 30 to 31 right answers out of the 40 questions. So let's say every time you practice you manage to get a 28 or a 29, it still means that your band score will be a 6.5. If you're looking for that 7 band in listening, then you better get a 30 or 31 out of 40. But for all of those out there, I would say very aggressive when it comes to preparing, very ambitious candidates, if you're looking out for that perfect 9 band in your IELTS listening, well, then ensure that you get at least 39 right answers out of 40. Because if you get 39 to 40 correct answers, then you get a perfect 9 band. Alright, so this is of course an overview into the IELTS listening. At the same time, let me also show you what or how the listening question booklet looks like. So this is just a snippet, it's just a small part of the entire question booklet. So you will be given a question booklet which has 4 sections. You will have section 1, section 2, section 3 and section 4. Now this snippet that I've picked up is from section 3 of listening. Okay, and you can see there is a particular question type that you can see on screen. Well, this is I would say matching question type, where you're given options like A, B, C, and you have to match it to the categories given under question number 21 to 25. Okay, so this is a sample just to get to know how the question booklet appears on the test day. And in the 30 minutes when the audio is played, you have to fill in the answers on the question booklet itself. So if you need to choose, let's say here you need to choose, what would be for 21, which says media studies, would it be A, B or C? So you need to write the letter A, B or C. Like you can see, the instructions are clearly mentioned there. And the instructions tell you that you need to write the correct letter A, B or C next to questions 21 to 25. So what happens once you write all the answers, that is you answer questions 1 to 40 and the audio tape finishes, it means your 30-minute is up, and in the next 10 minutes you have to transfer all your answers onto an answer sheet like this. You can see on screen that I've shared a sample answer sheet, and in the answer sheet you will have space to fill in all the answers from 1 to 40. The question numbers are mentioned. Okay, so one tip that I'd like to share here is make sure when you transfer the answers or when you move or shift the answers from the question booklet onto the answer sheet, you write it against the correct question number. So whatever you've scribbled for question number 1 on the question booklet, you need to transfer that against question number 1 onto the answer sheet as well. Because my friends, my dear IELTS aspirants, this is one major mistake that many students make. So ensure that you don't commit the same errors. Well, so far I don't get, oh right, okay, there's a question on YouTube and this is by Sylvie's World. That's how the name is given, and she asks, always I'm getting a 6.5, how can I improve? Well, Sylvie, definitely improving your IELTS score simply means putting in a lot more practice. Like I said, if you need to get a 7, you need to ensure that you get 30 to 31 right answers. So you need to ensure that you practice sufficiently. And at the same time, so Sylvie says she's watching from Kottayam, and at the same time, Sylvie, today I'm going to share a strategy with you, a trick or a technique that will help you solve at least some of the question types in listening. So if you master this technique and if you practice it that way, I'm sure it's going to help you a great deal in overcoming the hurdle of 6.5 and ensuring that you get a score above that. Okay, so Sylvie, you'll have to stay tuned along with me until the end of the live session to know or to learn that technique that I would like to share. Alright, so before I share the technique, here is an interesting quiz that I'd like to put up. Alright, on screen I have a list of questions, and okay, the options are a list of questions, of course. The question that you need to answer is, which is not an IELTS listening question type? Which is not an IELTS listening question type? And the options are option A, describing maps. Option B says multiple choice questions. Option C says sentence completion. And option D, yes, no, not given. So I want you to choose the right answer. You need to select from the list that particular question type which you think is not an IELTS listening question type. So I'm waiting for responses to flood in as always. Well, I think my viewers on YouTube are quite active. So Sylvie says D. Alright, Sylvie, thank you for that input. Let me just wait for the other responses as well. While my friends on Facebook, you need to answer this question if we need to move forward. You can see certain options on screen, and I want you to tell me which is not a question type in IELTS listening. Gino Joseph says A. Jijo says D. Shiji says D. Lakshmi Nair says A. Mathan Matthew says D. Vishnu Dinesh D. Roshni Vinod says D. Subjit says D. Ambika says D, which means a majority of you. So Jasmeer Jafar on YouTube says D as well. Excellent. Alright, so some have definitely answered as A, but a majority of you have put in the answer as D. Tasni Shabin says D. Nimisha Joseph says D. Nimi Tommy says D. Vishnu G D. Well, a load of D's coming in. Alright, does that mean D is the right answer? Well, I shall reveal in a few seconds time. Nixon Varghese D. Karen Rangel says D. Rajyog Kulal says D. Wonderful. So a majority of, oh wow, Karen says C. Okay, that's interesting. So we have another answer option that has come up. Semam Dijan Singh says hi. I hope you're doing well. Well, so it's been a few seconds and I'm going to divulge the right answer, which is not an IELTS listening question type here. Well, my dear friends, answer option A, of course, is a listening question type. Describing maps, by the way, is one of the most challenging question types for many of the students. And of course, the reason is very clear why it is challenging, because you're given an image. It's going to be a map. It could be a map of a location, of a particular building, of an area, and you're required to name certain areas that are marked on the map. And for that, you will need to listen to instructions carefully, especially directions. Now, I know very often, even if we use a Google map, that might confuse us when it comes to following directions or following instructions regarding locations or positions. And that is the same reason why students find it challenging. So of course, describing maps is definitely an IELTS listening question type. Option B was multiple choice question. Oh, that's interesting. So Ishfaq Ahmed on Facebook says C for sure. Okay, alright, he's very confident about it. Well, option B says multiple choice questions, and of course, multiple choice question is an IELTS listening question type. So very often you're given a multiple choice question, and probably it comes in section 2 or sometimes in section 4 or section 3. And you might be given 3 options sometimes, you might be given 4 options. It is also possible that you're given a set of 8 to 9 options and you have to choose 2 or 3 right answers from the list. So multiple choice questions definitely is an IELTS listening question type. Option C. Now one of our viewers, Ishfaq has said option C is not a listening question type. Now option C says sentence completion. And my dear friends, sentence completion is again an IELTS question type, listening question type. So you have to complete sentences. And how do you complete sentences? Using words. It could be a single word, it could be 2 words, or sometimes 3 words. You might also require to fill in a number. All you need to do is ensure you read the instructions carefully. Well, that takes us to the last option, and that simply means option D is the answer. Yes, no, not given is not an IELTS listening question type. Congratulations to all of you who answered option D. Yes, no, not given, by the way, is an IELTS reading question type, but not an IELTS listening question type. So, yes, so Ravi John says C is not an IELTS listening question type. Okay? So, well, yes, no, not given is definitely not an IELTS listening question type. Alright, so that was interesting because we had a mixed bag of responses coming up, with a majority of you opting for option D. Well, a lot of viewers on YouTube are responding as well. Nidin Topil, Ginny Rajan, Annette Thomas, welcome to our live session today. Okay, so with that, I hope you've got an overall idea or understanding of what IELTS listening is, and what are the different aspects you need to be careful about. So like I already told you, spellings are really important, so ensure that you practice your spellings thoroughly. So I told you in the beginning of the session that I will be teaching you a strategy that will help you solve the IELTS listening question types. Well, one challenge that many students face when it comes to listening is you're going to listen to different accents, right? You're going to listen to probably an American accent. You might listen to an Australian accent. You might listen to an Arabic accent. It could be a British accent as well. So when you listen to different kinds of English or different voices for that matter, like for instance in section 1 and section 3 of your listening, we're going to listen to at least 2 different voices, right? 2 or 3 or maybe even 4. So when you're listening to at least 3 or 4 different voices and in different accents, that might confuse you. You might not be able to identify certain words. So being able to track your audio clip is important. Being able to identify words that you listen to is important. So my strategy today will definitely help you in learning that technique. But before we move on to the technique, here is another interesting question. And trust me, after this question, I'm going to show you what the technique is. So before I show you what the technique is, let's try answering this question that you have on screen. And the question is, in IELTS listening, now you have to complete the sentence using the right option. In IELTS listening, option A says, you must answer all questions. Slightly tricky options here. Option B says, in IELTS listening, you can write many answer options and the examiner will choose the right one. Option C says, in IELTS listening, it is advised to write the answers in block letters. Now if you're wondering what block letters is, just look at how I've written block letters. It's in full capital letters, and that's what I mean by block letters. And option D says you can pause and repeat the audio if necessary in your IELTS listening. Which do you think matches? Okay, so we have responses coming up. Linto John says option A. So he feels in IELTS listening, you must answer all the questions. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So let's see what my friends on Facebook are responding. Ravi says option D. You can pause and repeat the audio if necessary. Jinu Joseph says option C. Reggie says option C. Smita Chaku says option C. That is, it is advised to write the answers in block letters. Alina Amal says C. Ambika is also saying C. Nimi says C. Ishwak says A. Alright. Arati Sadashivan says C. Lakshmi says C. Ramya says C. Alright. Interesting. Oh, okay. On YouTube, Srijit says A. Jasmeer says C. Oh, is it Badam Raj Pak on YouTube says C. Supriya Johnny says C. Nathan C. Annette C. Rojal Thomas says C. Okay, so what do you think is the right answer? Like I said, it's quite tricky. Ajisha on Facebook says C. Joyce Elizabeth on Facebook says C. Sunita Ranjit says C. Well, why I said tricky is you might be confused with the first answer option. It says in IELTS listening, you must answer all questions. Well, so it's good if you're able to answer all the questions because you end up answering all the questions and it turns out that you get all the right answers, which simply means you get a perfect 9 band. But remember, there is no mandate or there is no rule that you should be able to answer all the questions. But let me put it across as it's a need for the candidates. It's our need to answer all the questions. But there is no mandate that you need to answer all the questions. Okay? So I would say A is semi-relevant or semi-right. So option B says you can write as many answer options. The examiner will choose the right one. So let's say, for example, if you feel the answer is, should it be a bag or should it be bags or should it be a bunch of bags and you write all the 3 options because you're not really sure what the right answer is. And if you think the examiner will choose the right one out of the list you've given, you're mistaken. Well, in such a case, if you answer in 2 or 3 options, if you give the examiner, they will not consider your response. So remember, you can enter only one answer, whether it's right or wrong. You don't have the privilege to answer more than one or to enter more than one options as your answer. Okay, so of course option C says it is advised to write the answers in block letters, and I would definitely say that is the right answer because it's an advice. Again, it is not mandatory that you write in block letters, but it's always better if you can, write your answers in full block letters, because there would be no confusions. The examiner can easily understand the letters you've written and give you your scores. Option D says you can pause and repeat the audio if necessary. No, the audio is not under your control. It's controlled centrally by the invigilators, those who conduct the exam. So you have no privilege of pausing or repeating. You just have to listen as it happens. Well, so the right answer here is option C. Thank you for all for participating in this short quiz. Now, Ashna Joseph has asked a question. Should we look for grammatical accuracy when we answer a question? Well, Ashna, that's a very interesting question. Grammatical accuracy when answering a question. Well, definitely yes, because ultimately your answer key will be based on the grammatical accuracy itself. Now, let's say if you have a sentence completion question type and it says, Ronnie has to bring in a dash, okay, a dash. Now, if in the instruction it says you can enter one word only, if you write the word key as keys, K-E-Y-S, it's wrong because it says a. A means it's an article and it means singular, right? One. So you already have in the sentence given, Ronnie has to bring a dash. So if you write a keys, it's wrong. K-E-Y-S can never be the right answer. So what is the clue here? So Ashna's, this is the answer to Ashna's question. So what is the clue here? We have an article a, which simply means the blank will have to be filled in with a singular word. It cannot be plural. So you cannot say a keys. It has to be a key, K-E-Y. So Ashna, yes, grammatical accuracy is also important. The answer key is completely based on that, especially when it comes to using singular, plural. That's where many students tend to go wrong. Okay, I hope I answered Ashna's question here. Thank you for asking that question, which I'm sure many of them would now be thinking about. So let me introduce you to our brand new technique. It is, you can see this screen. On screen I've shared what the technique is. It's called as APT. Okay, so what is this APT technique? APT simply means analyze, predict and track. Analyze means you analyze the question during the given time, which simply means you read and understand the question. P stands for predict, which simply means think of what the possible answer might be. Here, it does not mean you have to guess the right answer. You just have to prepare yourself for the right answer. So you need to think of what possibility can happen here. And T means track, which means you need to track the audio using the untested information given on the question booklet. Tracking is very important because if you miss out on what you're listening to, you will end up not getting the right answers. So ensure that you track your audio as you listen to it. And number 4 is, of course, be prepared for synonyms. So you have some words on the question booklet. You cannot expect to listen to the same words in the audio clip. For example, there might be a word on the question booklet that says business. Okay, can you tell me what are the other possible words for business? If a word is written as business in the question booklet, What are the synonyms for this particular word? What else can I expect to listen to in the audio clip? I might not listen to the same word business. Do any of you have an idea of what other possibility, what other word can replace business? I'm waiting for responses. When it is a live session, we have this lag of a few seconds, which means if I ask you a question, it takes a few seconds for it to reach out to you guys, which means I should be doing a lot more of the waiting. Alright, my question is, what other word can I use instead of business? So you need to tell me a synonym for business. Okay, so Austin says on YouTube, marketing. Okay, interesting. Anyone else? I'm giving an option to try out before we practice the APT. Marketing is what one of my friends on YouTube has said. Austin says marketing. Was it a difficult word? I can't see answers flooding in as always. What other word do you think can replace business? Oh, I'm really sorry if it was a tough question. Okay, Sham says establishment. Okay. Naila says trading. Ah, interesting. Ashna says work or job or employment. Ajisha says enterprise. Brilliant, Ajisha. Jiju Matthew says trade. Nice. So Jissa Rose on YouTube says venture. Lakshmi Prakash says marketing. So you see, there are so many possibilities for a word like business to be replaced with another word. So you have to be prepared for synonyms. You cannot expect to listen to the same word, let's say business in the audio. In the question booklet you might say business, but you have to be prepared for synonyms. You might listen to the word trade, you might listen to enterprise. Okay. It could also be startups, now, if it is a startup business. Alright, so not letting you wait any longer, I'm going to take you to the APT technique. So let's try following it. APT, let's analyze the question paper first. Yeah, Jessie Rachel says dealings. Thank you, Jessie. I want all of you to look at the screen and I want you to analyze the question booklet that you can see here. The instructions clearly say one word and or a number. So your answer can only be a single word, or it could be a word and a number, or it can be a single number. Okay, so let's analyze. Now here it says apartments. Okay, and we have names of apartments here: Rose Garden Apartments, Blue Bay Apartments, blank 2 apartments, the Grand. So these are names of apartments. And the next column says facilities, and it says other information and cost. So what do you think you're going to listen to? What kind of audio do you think you will be listening to? What is this audio about? Can you analyze it and identify what the audio is about? It says apartments, you can see facilities, and under facilities you have the tested, the untested information like studio flat, large saltwater swimming pool, you have terrace, Greek paintings, and then you have other information given like entertainment programs, near shops, water sports, near a supermarket and a disco. So what kind of conversation do you think you're going to listen to? Because this is section 1, it will have to be a conversation. You're going to listen to at least 2 voices here. What do you think they're talking about? Any guesses, anyone? What do you think the conversation is going to be about? They're talking about apartments, they're talking about facilities, they're talking about the cost involved. Any guesses on what the conversation is going to be about? Well, let me put it out for you if you're finding it difficult to guess. Well, it's going to be a conversation. It's basically an inquiry that you're going to listen to. And this person, whoever calls, yeah, so Sham says real estate. Possibly. They're looking out because it says cost. And because it says, okay, apartments, right. So it could be real estate. Joyce, Elizabeth says, renting a house and a question mark. I like that question mark, Joyce. You're like, is it? Okay. So Karen Rangel says agent. Jiju Matthew says to let. Yeah, so that's an inquiry probably regarding the availability of certain apartments for rent maybe or to purchase. Fareed Sial says property dealings, possibility. Well, so this is how you need to analyze. You're going to guess, what you're going to listen to. And the first thing you need to do after guessing is look out for the blanks. Here you need to answer questions 1 to 5. And blank 1 is here, blank 2 is here, this is blank 3, then you have blank 4, and you have blank 5. Now, as you analyze, you're also going to predict the possible answers. So, the first blank is under other information and it says it is about Blue Bay Apartments, blank number 1, and it's not under facilities but under other information. It says just dash meters from the beach. So, here you're going to predict. APT, we've analyzed and we're predicting the possible answer. What do you think could be the blank number 1? What do you think you need to fill in there? Just dash meters from the beach. Just dash meters from the beach. So what do you think? Can we predict the answers? Can we predict blank 1? Can we guess what the possible? Okay, so yeah, so Jiju says 100. Now we cannot, guess the answer, Jiju. What you need to guess is what is the possibility of an answer. So Sham says distance, good. Fareed Sial says kilometer, but it's given in meter, of course. Muhammad Khader Mohsin says a number, yes. Sandhya Haridas says it's going to be a number, good. This is how we can predict. Because it's given as dash meters, we know it's going to be a value. It should be a number, like Ambika says number. Like Sham said, it should be distance. Just dash meters. Yeah, Austin says number. Harshan Kaur says number. Supriya says number. Jasmeer Jaffer says number. So we're predicting. We've analyzed and at the same time we're predicting what the possible answer could be. Great. What about blank number 2? Srijit VS says number. Blank number 2 says dash apartments and it is under apartments. Can you see here? Blank number 2 says dash apartments. So what do you think will be the possibility in blank 2? Remember everyone, this is how we analyze and predict the possible answers. What do you think would blank 2 be? Dash apartments. Ajisha says name. Excellent. It will be a name of an apartment. That's what Ajisha says. Jessie says nearness. Okay. Dash apartment. Probably she's answering the previous question. Jibin says name. Good. Neetu Prasad says name. Sandhya says apartment name. Great. Sonia says name. Sony Matthew says name of apartment. Harshankar says name. Supriya says name. Srijit says name. Ripon Mia says name of apartment. These are all on YouTube. Okay. Brahma Prakash says name. Okay, great. So this is how we're going to analyze, and we're also predicting the possible answers. So blank 3, under the grant it says Greek paintings blank. Third blank. Okay, Joyce says number 2 could be a noun. Yes, good. Greek paintings and 3. Now it is given under facilities. So we need to think of blank 3 could possibly be the different facilities available in the apartment called the Grand. Now, yeah, it could be agency name. Yeah, rented. Okay. Blank 4 says overlooking dash. Look at blank 4. It's under other information and it is about the apartment called as the Grand, and it says overlooking dash. Overlooking what? What do you think are the possibilities? Any guesses? It could be overlooking a building. It could be overlooking a particular landscape. It could be overlooking a feature, overlooking a construction. Farid says adjective. Now Farid, for option blank 4, it cannot be an adjective. Adjective means being descriptive, okay, describing something. But overlooking, it has to be an object. It could be a building. It could be, like I said, a construction. It could be a landmark, okay. So Emlyn David says beach, okay, overlooking the beach, possibly. So that's a landmark, a location, a building or a construction or some facility available there. So what we've done is we've analyzed and we've at the same time predicted the possible answer. Blank 5 of course comes under cost, so it has to be a number. So now I'm going to let you guys try and solve this particular question. So I want you to try and listen to this audio clip and try and fill in the answers blank 1, blank 2, blank 3, blank 4 and blank 5. So let's try this out. Listen to the audio.
Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Greek island holidays, can I help you?
Yes, I hope so. I have a friend who's just come back from Corfu and she's recommended some apartments in Aralis. She thought they might be on your list.
Aralis, let me see. Can you give me the names?
Yes, the first's Rose Garden Apartments. I'd like to go with another friend in the last week of October.
Well, we've got a lovely studio flat available at that time. I'm sure you'd enjoy the entertainment program there too, with Greek dancing in the restaurant.
And the cost for each of us?
£219.
That sounds very reasonable. I'm just jotting down some notes. Now, the second one she mentioned was called Blue Bay.
Blue Bay. Yes, in fact, that's very popular, and it has some special features.
Really?
The main attraction is the large swimming pool with salt water.
Much healthier, I understand.
That's right. And it isn't far from the beach either. Only 300 metres. And only around half a kilometre to some shops, so you don't have to be too energetic.
Is it much more expensive than the first one?
Let me just check. I think at the time you want to go, it's around £260. No, £275 to be exact.
Right, I've got that. Now, there are just 2 more apartments to ask you about. I can't read my own writing. Something to do with sunshine, is it?
I think you meant the Sunshade Apartments. They're on a mountainside.
Any special features?
Yes, each room has its own sun terrace, and there are shared barbecue facilities.
Ooh, sounds lovely.
Yes, it is rather well equipped. It also provides water sports, it has its own beach, there are facilities for water skiing.
Any kite surfing? My friend's quite keen.
Not at the hotel, but I'm sure you'll find some in Arillis. There's also satellite TV in the apartments.
And how much is that one?
£490 with 2 sharing.
You mean £245 each?
I'm afraid not. Each person has to pay that amount and there must be at least 2 in an apartment.
Oh, I don't think that would be within our budget, unfortunately. And the last one sounds a bit expensive too. The Grand?
Actually, it's quite reasonable. It's an older style house with Greek paintings in every room and a balcony outside.
Sounds nice. What are the views like?
Well, there are forests all round and they hide a supermarket just down the road. So that's very useful for all your shopping needs. There's a disco in the area too.
And the price?
£319 at that time. But if you leave it till November, it goes down by 40%.
Too late, I'm afraid.
Well, why don't I send you a brochure with full details, Miss...
Nash. But don't worry about that. I'm coming to Upminster soon, and I'll call and get one. I just wanted to get an idea first.
Well, that's fine. We've got plenty here when you come.
Alright, so we've just listened to the audio and all of you have tried finding the answer for questions 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now, if you can share your findings on the chat, whatever you found as the answer, can you please add it on the chat so that we can discuss what the right answers are. So what we've done here, the third step is tracking the audio. So Ambika says 3 is balcony. Alright, what about 1, 2 and 4 and 5? Okay, so whatever words are given on the question booklet is basically the untested information. It simply means that information is to help you and it is not being tested. Now all the blanks that you have are called as tested information. Great, so Jibin has shared a list of answers. So Jibin says 1, 300, 2 sunshade, 3 balcony, 4 forest and 5, 319. Okay, just waiting to see if you've got the possible answers. So on YouTube, Ginny says 2 is sunshine. Sonia Cherian says 3 balcony inside. Remember Sonia, you can write only one word. Balcony inside are 2 words. Your answer will be marked wrong. Make sure you're very clear with the instructions. Sony Matthew says balcony. Ripon Mia says balcony. Jasmeer Jaffer says 300 is the first answer. Okay. Sunshine is the answer that given. Alright, let's check out Facebook. Alright. Ambika says forest. Ajisha says number 2 is sunshine. See, this is where you need to be very careful when we follow the audio clip. The pronunciation could be a factor. There are possibilities of making mistakes. Jinu says sunshine. Alina Amal says 300 sunshine and number 5 is 390. Okay. Ajisha says 4 I didn't get. No problem. Farid Sial says balcony. Alright. Great going people. Jibin Thomas says 300 sunshade, balcony, forest and 319. Ajisha says 5 is 390. 319. 390. There's a difference, right? 19. 90. Gino says number 4 is forest. Okay, so here are the answers. Number 1 is 300. Number 2 is sunshade, not sunshine. Sunshade. Number 3, balcony. Number 4, it can be forest, or you can also write as forests as a right answer. And number 5 is 319. 319. Sam Abraham Matthew has shared all the right answers. Excellent. Roshni Vinod has shared the right answers. Great. A lot of you have written as sunshine. It's actually sunshade. And it should be a single word because the instruction clearly says you can only write one word. Okay? So, what did you understand when we did this activity? Like what we've done is we've tried using the APT technique. Okay? So we first analyzed and we also predicted at the same time whether it's going to be a number, whether it's going to be a name, whether it's going to be a location. And with the help of our prediction, we also use the untested information. So all these are bits of untested information like Rose Garden Apartments, Studio Flat, Greek Entertainment Programs, Blue Bay Apartments, Saltwater Swimming Pool. These will help us track the audio clip. Because the moment we listen to Saltwater Swimming Pool, we know immediately we need to be prepared for blank number 1. Because the next description is going to be about other information about Blue Bay Apartments. And once we listen to cost pound 275, 275 is untested information. So the moment we listen to 275 on the audio clip, we have to be prepared for blank 2 because we know next the person is going to be talking about the second apartment or the third there, right? And then the person starts speaking about the grand, and the moment we listen to Greek paintings, we're all alert because we know we're going to listen to the next possibilities there. Now they said a balcony inside. Now we cannot write a balcony because that becomes 2 words. If you write balcony inside, again it becomes 2 words. So we have to choose only balcony from the audio clip and fill it as a right answer. So this is how the untested information will help you track the audio clip. Okay? Well, with this, we're going to try one more. Okay? I'm going to show you another question piece here. And here you have to, again, the instruction says one word or a number. It says Greek Island holidays as the heading. We have insurance benefits and we also have maximum amount. It says cancellation. Then we have blank 6, which says probably we can predict as a number. Then we have hospital, and blank 7, it says additional benefit allows a dash to travel. Remember, is an article, which means blank 7 has to be a singular word. A dash to travel. Okay, so I'm talking about blank 7. We have a dash. Blank 6 is of course number. Blank 8 says dash departure. The instruction clearly says we can write only one word or a number. So 8 is dash departure. And then we have description up to pounds 1000, depends on reason. Then we have insurance benefit, personal belongings up to 3000, 500 for one blank 9 dash. Name of assistant manager, Ben, is already given. Ben is untested information. We have to fill it with the right answer. So his surname is what we'll have to fill in blank 10. Okay? So we're going to try and listen to this, and I want you to try and fill in answers 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And by the time you finish solving the answers, I'm going to tell you how you can improve on this technique. Okay, so here is the audio. Be ready to fill in the answers for 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10.
Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
If you've got a minute, could I just check a couple of points about insurance? I got one policy through the post, but I'd like to see if yours is better.
Fine. What would you like to know?
Well, the one I've got has benefits, and then the maximum amount you can claim. Is that like yours?
Yes, that's how most of them are.
Well, the first thing is cancellation. If the holiday's cancelled on the policy I've got, you can claim £8,000.
We can improve on that, Miss Nash. For Greek Island holidays, our maximum is £10,000.
That's good. Of course our holiday won't even cost £1,000 together.
It's still sensible to have good cover. Now, if you go to hospital, we allow £600.
Yes, mine's similar.
And we also allow a relative to travel to your holiday resort.
My policy just says their representative will help you.
You can see there's another difference there. And what happens if you don't get on the plane?
Nothing as far as I can see on this form.
Don't you have missed departure?
No, I'll just jot that down.
We pay up to £1,000 for that, depending on the reason. And we're particularly generous about loss of personal belongings, up to £3,000, but not more than £500 for a single item.
Then I'd better not take my laptop.
Not unless you insure it separately.
Okay, thanks very much for your time. You've really been helpful. Can I get back to you? Your name is...
Ben Ludlow. That's Ludlow. I'm the assistant manager here. I'll give you my number. It's 08126.
Alright, so I hope you've been able to fill in blanks 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now this was a good example of confusing responses possible. Now Shyam says number 7 is relative, Reshma says Ludlow, Ludlow. Now they will spell out words and you need to make sure that you're very quick enough to write down those. Okay, excellent. What about the remaining responses? What about blank 6? Anyone there who's got all the answers? 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So number 7 relative is correct. A relative. And number 10 Ludlow is right. So Reshma is right. So it's Ben Ludlow. That's correct. Ashwati Manu says 8,000. Which is 8,000, Ashwati? Was it blank 6? Now remember, this conversation that you just heard was a comparison what she has found and what this particular Greek island holidays give. Sam Abraham has given us a big list of responses and Jibin Thomas has given all the responses as well. Yes, so number 6, the answer is actually 10,000. Now why did you write as 8,000? I'll tell you that. I mean, Ashwati has written as 8,000 because she said the one agency that she's already inquired, they have 8,000 as cancellation policy. So it is not Greek Island Holidays cancellation policy. Just Mir Jafar, you've written 8,000. The answer is wrong. It has to be 10,000. Let's Motivate says 6 is 10,000. Excellent. Sheza Sharafu says 10,000. Great. So here are the responses. These are the right answers. Akito Arasa says 8 is missing departure. It's actually missed departure. Jibin says miss. It's missed departure. Sam Abraham, your answer was miss. There is no missed departure. We can only say that as missed departure. So ED could be a challenge there. Like Sharu Abraham has shared the answer as missed, and that is correct. You can see that many have answered number 8 as miss, M-I-S-S. Now there is no word like missed departure. It has to be mixed departure. Missed departure, sorry, not mixed. Missed departure. If you miss the departure, right? What if you don't get on the plane? And that is missed departure. And number 9 is item and number 10 is Ludlow. A single item. One item. A single is given in the audio clip, but in the question booklet we have one item. Excellent participation. Now you might be wondering how you can improve on your skills here. Well, the answer is of course joining for our classes, whether it's online or regular sessions. At the same time, if you're in a different part of the world and you would like to try our mobile app, we have this IELTS mobile app which is really interesting. It has all the related video lessons on the different skills, how you can solve the different modules, and you can choose from different packages. If you feel IELTS writing is what you need to improve, you can simply pick up the IELTS writing package, or you can also take up the IELTS all skills package. And you have video lessons, you have question papers, you have mock speaking videos, you have sample answers for writing, and you have solved lessons as well. I'm going to show you in those video lessons in the app how you can solve a listening, how you can solve a reading, how you can write a writing answer, and how you can actually attend a speaking test. All of it is available on our mobile app, which is available for free download. You just have to make a small purchase if you're interested, and you get more detailed video lessons. So make sure you check out our IELTS mobile app, which has all of these details. So whatever I've been trying to teach you or show you or share with you is all done in detail in our mobile app. Ajisha, number 9, you've written a single item. Remember, the instruction says one word only, so we cannot write more than that as our response. Well, it's been a great 1-hour session, a wonderful participation both on Facebook and YouTube. Now Jinu says, can you please repeat the audio? Jiju says, Jiju, I'm really sorry because it's almost time for us to wind up our session. So I'll not be able to repeat the audio clip, but if you can just get in touch with us or check out our mobile app, because we have similar lessons for APT technique on the mobile app itself. I'd like to extend my gratitude for a wonderful session to all of you who've joined in. I hope this has been beneficial. Do watch out our live sessions every week on Wednesday, where we completely focus on IELTS, and tomorrow we have a live session on OET. So I hope to see you all there as well. Thank you so much for joining us in this live session today. Bye.